So we've got Lex Divine, not Ryan. I shouldn't call you Ryan, or should I call you Lex now?
I mean, this is sort of a kayfabe breaking podcast, right? So
yeah. I mean, we're sitting next to each other on a couch, and in kayfabe, the most interaction we've ever had is him reading bullying tweets to me in front of a crowd.
Okay.
So we're not together and are not like living together in kayfabe. So.
Right, in the wrestling world. That's okay. So I'm supposed to be Italian, so and I'll have spaghetti tonight, but that's about the only thing about me that's actually Italian. Don't tell Monte from Monte and the Pharaoh. He gets so upset at that. For some reason, Monte from Monte and the Pharaoh thinks that like my pretending that I was Italian is like the most offensive thing that's ever happened in the history of wrestling. And us to.
So we have questions from fans, and I'm here to answer them. And I may blather on and on and on, but I will get to a point eventually with your help.
Like in my introductions, I will get to a point eventually. And here is the first point. I'm going to get to a question. Or actually, it's more of a statement / question. And it says, please ask Dutch. Dutch, do you know who up in New York is talking about you?
Yes. There's two answers to that, really.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, you say, who? And they said, nobody.
All right, welcome back to the world's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte The Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music Studios, straight out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island, on a special Friday show where we have a marathon with the great T.L. Hopper, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, and then Doink the Clown. Should be a great Friday. We're thanking you all for joining us. Anthony.
Yes,
you are
sir.
now breaking this young man's cherry.
Ooh. All right.
My first live interview.
The original,
I'll
the
be
Pharaoh,
gentle.
the
I'll be
Pharaoh,
gentle.
my partner, has gone to Florida. He's met his love of his life. We're trying to set him up over the internet, but Bruce has been a longtime family member of the Monte The Pharaoh show, and he is now officially having his first interview.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well,
be-
congratulations.
Yeah, usually I've been in that seat before. I've never been in this seat before, so this should be interesting. And Mike, thank you for letting me come down again.
No, always a pleasure. But feel free to beat the crap out of him and tell him what a terrible job he's doing, because
I'd be more
that's
than happy to.
very important.
Yes.
Very important.
It's important for New Yorkers. Yeah.
But before we get to the great T.L. Hopper, NYC flooding. States are in emergency declared in the subways and shut down the roadways due to the rain today, man.
Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
sent me a picture of LaGuardia Airport, where this gentleman flew into.
This morning, and now it's flooded. People are running out of the terminals. There's ankle deep water. That's pretty crazy.
Have you ever experienced something like this before?
Not in the Northeast. I actually got caught in a flash flood of all places, Roswell, New Mexico, when I was a kid, and it was not a fun experience. I'll tell you that. It comes down. Next thing you know, you're knee deep in water, and everything's rushing away. So, I don't envy those people.
I want to do a quick roll call. Loose in the house. Davio here. The This Week in Pro Wrestling champion,
Benny Scala.
Benny Scala, in the house.
Talked to Benny
Phil,
this morning.
Good to see you. Phil came in second, did a wonderful job last night.
Yeah, rub it in. I was last.
You were last?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't even realize that. Did that hurt you?
Nah, I'm okay. I'll get over
Or
it.
you think it was rigged? You think I
no.
purposely put you in last place?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was fun. It was a good experience. I was up against some really, really worthy challengers, and hey, Benny pulled it out. Way to go, Benny.
People aren't here to hear us anyway, because people are saying name not important. The Dirty White Boys in the house, which probably is one of the greatest pro wrestling names, and we'll get into that I've ever heard. We'll get into it.
I kind of liked it myself.
We got to figure out. I got to understand where you came up with it and everything else. But first, before we get to the legendary wrestler that you are, I want to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monte The Pharaoh, our own Wisteria Hall, along with my partner Jimmy Barrow and Bart Griggs. Make up the band Wisteria Hall. They sing such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page.
Yeah, you want me to do that Bartman really high?
You could try it.
No, you had me do that the first time I was here.
Jimmy might curse you out. Yeah. You might have to back off a little bit. Jimmy is very territorial.
Well, you had me do it the first time I was on, and then I didn't live that down for the rest of the show.
I'm gonna put you on some quick pressure, and then I'm gonna show Anthony pictures later. But are you still Team Pharaoh or Team Petra?
Ooh, I gotta say I'm still Team Pharaoh. Jimmy's a buddy of mine. I mean, I can't say
close, or is it?
Well, as far as looks or as far as personality. Listen, Jimmy does great at his job. Danielle has been doing a great job filling in and being a great new co-host on the network. You know, I think she's coming along. I think she's going to bring.
I got a smoking co-host now. I mean, smoking.
Yeah, she's going to bring a lot of viewers.
Like, you remember your valet?
Yeah.
Are you still with her?
No.
Well, we'll talk about her too, but remember how smoking she was?
Yeah.
My co-host, even hotter.
Ah, well. Why ain't she here instead of him?
Unfortunately, she's in Florida, but yeah, I agree with you. How great would that have been?
That's it. I'll believe it.
If you didn't know what you are watching, Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Catch us on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page and Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Catch us on the Monte The Pharaoh Twitch TV page. And if you're lucky enough to live in New York, you'll catch us on the New York cable version, where you'll see this legend in a reduced version on channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. and Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m. and channel 20 Tuesdays at 7 p.m., where over 150,000 people watch us weekly.
That's awesome.
Also, we're on something called the Intuitive Network. That's INTUITIVE. It's like Netflix. Upload it, download it, right? It's for free. Movies, documentaries, videos, and they're going to get to start seeing your face on there, man. Not too bad, right?
And and let's talk about their feature show on Thursday nights.
Monte The Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
We'll be back with this wrestling legend, the great, and he is a wrestling legend, Tony Anthony, in a moment. Sir? Manscaped? Have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped, what are you thinking about
Love
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So Manscaped is a must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to go do the deed on a woman, would you rather have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Racing stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start, where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to
Wow.
wander into that.
That's
thought of
very
it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a
Wow.
smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has, like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that landing?
I don't want, I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, look
but-
what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey,
Ah.
the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
I found it! I found
Have
it!
you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
absolutely.
You're like, whoa!
Wow,
Yeah,
like,
I'm 46,
like it pops
of
out?
course.
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's a
through.
trooper.
Yeah.
He's a trooper. Gotta give him an A.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven, does Manscaped could help you?
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Yeah, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
But
only
with that,
Ron
we're going to take a
Jeremy,
quick
Batman.
commercial break and we'll be
Anyway.
back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
We will see you in a drop kick second.
Drop kick. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, only seen here at Indie Music TV, where we welcome the legend. I will not call you TL Hopper. I just
Thank you.
refuse. Tony
Thank
Anthony,
you.
how are you, sir?
Thank you. Good, very good, very good.
Tony, can I call you Tony? Is
Yes,
that okay?
please.
Does it bother you with the illustrious career that you had that so many people only, I don't want to say only, but they mostly recognize you for the TL Hopper gimmick? Does that bother you?
No, because that was basically the last character that they seen me as, and it was going worldwide. So it really don't. I didn't like the gimmick. Still don't, but some people do, and and that's all right. Fans, if they like TL Hopper, that's fine. I did the best I could as TL Hopper. I was more comfortable as a dirty white boy. And no, it don't really. I don't let a lot of stuff bother me. I mean, especially there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
So why worry about it?
But when you we'll talk about this a little later, right? Because I want to go over the beginning of your career. But when you get to the WWE, obviously at that time it was a character-driven organization.
Yeah.
When that gets presented to you, you're just like, yeah, just give me the cash and I'll do whatever you tell me to do.
Yeah, basically that was it. I didn't like, and I knew that where they were going with it, I wasn't going to get a push, and I knew that, and I accepted that. It was getting later in my career. I had several injuries that really needed taken care of, but you got to have money to take care of stuff
Right.
like that. So I just basically did what they wanted, helped the younger guys out when they would listen, and just try to help them get better and understand the business better. And it was what it was.
So you're saying you were kind of brought in to kind of groom the next group of guys with your tremendous experience.
Yeah, that was basically it, because if you looked at the roster and everything of the talent that they had, there really wasn't any room. And like I said, I was getting older, and I was injured, and they just wanted me to basically help teach and train these younger guys.
Did you have any influence on the gimmick, or did they just say, "Hey, this is what you're going to do"?
Well, they Vince flew me up. It was me and several other guys. We had a meeting, and he talked to each one of us and all that, and figured out, tried to figure out, do you have any ideas or anything like that? So what did you do growing up before you was a wrestler and all that? Well, my dad was a master plumber. He owned his own plumbing company, and I grew up as a plumber. And a lot of people thought that I would take the family business over And but wrestling always been my number one dream in life, and so I didn't. And I said something about that, and I guess I just shot myself in the foot. Because he goes, "That's it, you're going to be a plumber." Yeah, next thing I know, I'm like, "What?" You know?
Did the WWF have some
you
type
know,
of
real good.
Did they have like an obsession with like plumber gimmicks? Because they had Dusty as the son of a plumber, and
No, I don't think, I had saw an interview, I guess, with Jake the Snake Roberts, and they were discussing you, and Jake was kind of saying it was almost like a he thing where they were just trying to make you look foolish on top of just having you there. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was like an inside joke. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, right?
I don't know. But, if they was wanting the inside joke on me, that's fine. I got paid
As long as they
paid
paid you, right?
Chain coming in, so hey, laugh away.
But here's a positive, right? You're going to an event on tomorrow.
Yes.
God willing, right? Considering the rain that's going on here.
Might
Right?
have to swim in, but
How does that make you feel that, you can have a boatload of fans coming up to you, you know what I mean, wanting to take pictures with you. How does it make you feel? It's got to make you feel great, right?
Hey, I always, the people I think is always the wrestling fans. I thank them over the guys that train me, over the boys and all that, because without the wrestling fans, there would be no T.L. Hopper. There would be no Dirty White Boy. There would be no Grappler number 2. The fans is what makes you. I mean, you got some of these guys that look up and they're big stars and they're like, "Hey, look what I done." True, you did it, but the fans put you there. I mean, they can take you out that quick. I mean, it's just like anything else. I mean, they can turn on you that quick and then you not be nothing anymore. But I was lucky enough to where I do have fans that even today, I brought my kids to watch you. Younger guys, I used to come, my dad and my papa used to bring me and watch you. Boy, you was one of my favorite wrestlers. And I said, well, great. It makes me feel great. It does. I mean, anytime anybody, you guys get a compliment on your radio show or anything like that, you can't help but like, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. It makes you feel good.
Feels good you made a difference, right, in people's lives,
Everybody likes to have a compliment. I don't care who you are, what you done, or anything like that. Somebody gives you a compliment, it makes you feel good.
I don't want to stick on the T.L. Hopper thing, but you did mention something before the interview started, which I was trying to piece it all together, right? Because I'm getting old, my memory doesn't work so well anymore.
Me both.
But there you go, we're on the same thing. We were talking earlier, we both can't hear. We could just sign language each other, do an interview with sign language. You mentioned Vince Russo. Vince Russo had his hand in the character?
Yeah. He, especially during that time, I don't know where anybody thought that he was qualified to do that, but evidently Vince McMahon thought that he was, because there's where he was, and then he just all of a sudden knew everything there was to know about every shape and form of life.
Kind of like Dutch Mantel, in a way.
Yeah, but Dutch can do it better. At least Dutch has got gift or gab,
right?
So.
Right. He's not saying bro every 2 seconds. Did he say bro to you? Like, bro, that plumber's pretty hot. The plumber goes, bro, I'm telling you, bro, I know how to make you a plumber, bro.
Yeah. So, no, it's, me and him we never ever seen eyeball to eyeball on anything. For some reason, he didn't like me, and the feeling was mutual. But see, I don't worry about people like that. I don't think anything. I lose no sleep whatsoever. I've got my life. I've got a wonderful life. I've got a beautiful family, grandkids, the whole 9 yards. And I don't worry about the small stuff. And Vince Russo is the small stuff.
You on your way out of the WWE, you didn't send him some sign language, anything like that?
Oh, I did that while I was there.
You could do it right here on TV, too, if you want. Hey, Vince, give him one. Give him a little sign language. Here you go, Vince.
Because, see, I don't do anything like that unless I can do it to their face.
There you go, baby. That's
it's easy to get on a radio show or do the Texan and all that and tell somebody how bad you are and what you think of them, they're SOB and you ain't no count and all that. It ain't so easy if that man's standing you about a foot from you looking you in the face.
Yeah.
And, him and Jim Cornette's got this big feud going, and it's like a bunch of little old feist dogs.
Which
Back and
one's
forth
worse?
at one another, and,
Unbelievable.
I don't know.
At least Jim
I ain't
Cornette's
got
got
time.
the
I ain't got time for that.
At least Jim Cornette's got the wrestling history behind him and that stuff, and
Jim's a very smart man. He is. When
Vince
it comes
Russo
to
and-
wrestling,
Yeah, but
he's very smart.
not that I'm a fan of either ones. I am not. But
Yeah.
if you were just to measure dicks, right? Russo probably made more money than Cornette throughout his career, so Russo's probably the winner in this whole thing. Being that he was up here, right? I mean,
Well, now Jim was up here too.
so you think Cornette made some decent money up here? Yeah, I wasn't thinking
Oh, yeah.
about it. He probably did all right then
Yeah,
too,
he,
right?
He done good.
Yeah.
He managed to do good wherever he went
Yeah.
because he's got a real good mind for the business.
So explain that to me, right? Wasn't he a kid, and his mom was some kind of concession stand woman or something like that?
or a rat.
That's rumors. I don't know that part of it, whether it was or not, but I was around him when he first started managing in Memphis. And he was doing a good job, and he would do anything that anybody wanted him to do. He was more than happy to do it, willing to do it, and he did it to the best of his ability.
So when a new guy like that, he's new, right? Obviously, and you're this established high level talent. He comes in. Do you give him a hard time at first, or is it like since he was so easy to do what you needed, he garnered your respect?
Oh no, everybody got messed with. I mean, it didn't matter who you was. That's part of the fun of it. When I first broke in, people messed with me. Harmless jokes and stuff like that. You're on the road. You're with these people. They're basically your family because you're around them more than you are your own family. And, you got to have fun.
Any favorite ribs you did on anybody?
Lord, been so long. I've changed my ways and tried to forget a bunch of that stuff. Some of it we can't talk about.
That didn't happen. That never happened. I'm erasing it from my mind.
No, that never.
I was up here in the Northeast, right? So I was a WWF guy, right, growing up. So the only time we had the opportunity to see you guys down south were probably in the magazines. And I could remember the first time I saw you with that hot valet. I think what was her name, Mystic or something like that, if I remember properly, right?
That was the first name she had.
Yeah.
And then we changed that. I was like, nah, let's just go with, you got the dirty white boy, let's just go with the dirty white girl.
Right.
Should have done it to begin with, but it was kind of a hurry. In a hurry to get her out, and all that.
So forgive me for this, right? Because I always thought about this. I remember when I saw it, Dirty White Boy. I'm like, that's probably the coolest name I've ever heard of for a wrestler. And I was like,
you were right.
I think I was. But then I thought, did Foreigner steal Dirty White Boy from Dirty White Boy the wrestler? Or did Dirty White Boy steal Dirty White Boy by Foreigner?
Well, we're still arguing about that.
Wow. All right. So your valet, where do you meet your valet? How do you decide to have her? Like, do you remember how she got involved with you in wrestling?
I met her in Pensacola, Florida, and Bullet Bob Armstrong and Ron Fuller were the two main bookers, and Robert Fuller booked some too, and but they are all owners of it. And Bullet come and said, hey, have you ever thought about having a valet? Go with you and all that, and work a good angle with it. They was wanting to bring a girl in. And I said, well, okay. So one thing led to another. We got together as far as white boy and white girl, and the rest is history.
So, well, you were trained by Steve Kern. How did you end up getting?
I was not trained by Steve
No?
Kern.
No.
Let's no.
So where did that come from?
I have no idea. I just heard it one day or seen it on the YouTube or something. They come out and said they were running down where I started and this and all that, and it had trained by Steve Kern. No. A guy by the name of Rick Connors in Knoxville, Tennessee, trained me. He had a school, and you talking about one double tough man. I mean, that he would go wrestle and work out with the Carson Newman College wrestling team and never got beat. I mean, that's how tough that he was. And if he trained you, he made you respect it, and he made you work your butt off to get it, or you would just couldn't handle the pain, because there was a lot of pain involved in that. He'd stretch you, he'd hit you and hook you, and then sit there and just take his fist and start punching you in the ear, give you a cauliflower ear, and see if you could handle it. And I've seen guys get up, holding their ears, run out, and never come back. And
well, what piqued your interest in wrestling, and when did you decide to become a professional wrestler?
Well, there was two things that I wanted to do in my life. And one of them was to play football for the University of Tennessee. I did that. My second thing, life goal, was to become a professional wrestler. So I quit playing college football and got into professional wrestling. And that was, I'd say, my number one dream. And ain't too many men can have two dreams, life dreams, and get to experience both of them.
So
that's for sure.
So which wrestlers did you grow up idolizing?
Ron and Don Wright. Now these are some guys that was in the South, around Knoxville and all that. You had Ron and Don Wright, Whitey Caldwell, Les Thatcher, Donnell Green, those Sam Bass, guys like that. And then of course Lawler was he was getting started and coming up, and just, you know, these guys just really, I watched them, I idolized them, and not too many people can say you idolized one man growing up and then he was your manager when you was wrestling, and that was Ron Wright.
You got to forgive my partner here, but he just veered off a subject I got to get back to. So we're talking about your valet.
Okay.
She's smoking hot.
Okay.
You hook up with her on a professional level. Do you become romantically involved with her?
Well, what do you think? I married her.
Did you marry her?
Yeah, we did get married.
Wow. How long were you married for, if you don't mind me asking?
3 years, maybe.
3 years?
Yeah, something like that. It wasn't.
And did your feelings change after you got married? Because wrestling's a tough business, like you said, right?
Yeah.
You're like your family. So now you got a beautiful woman at your shoulder, right? Again, you hear all these stories about guys hitting on these guys' girlfriends or wives and stuff like that. Did your feelings all of a sudden change about the boys and how they approached them?
No, because I didn't get the name Dirty White Boy by helping old ladies across the street. I'd smack a taste plumb out of your mouth. I mean, you ask me and I'll get you, you know, there's a beer there. It's the last one and it's mine. You want it, you ask me, I'll give it to you. You walk over and take it, somebody's taking an ass whooping.
Nice.
So, they honestly think that they respected me enough to where they wouldn't try it. Plus, she's my valet, so she was around me all the time.
Right.
So,
was there ever a moment someone stepped in and tried to do something that you had to kick some ass just to straighten them out?
no, as far as
approaching
trying
her,
to approach
yeah.
her or something.
Look, clearly no one was going to fuck with the dirty white boy. I totally get it. But, boys will be boys, right? When it comes to
but
women.
no. Not to my knowledge. Nobody ever did.
Is she still with us?
I don't know what she's done.
Really?
Yeah.
Once you broke up, that was it, huh?
Yeah, once we got divorced. See, I'm the type of person, if I've got an old pair of shoes and I get me a new pair, I throw them old pair away and I don't ever think about them again.
Wow. Really?
So, that was it.
Who's
She
done with
wanted
that
a
pair of
divorce.
shoes?
I give her a divorce. I have no idea where she lives, what she's done, or anything.
Wow.
And I don't want to know. I'm a happily married man. I've got a beautiful family, beautiful grandkids. They're all killing me though, but no, I'm the luckiest man in the world.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Let's talk about your arrival into the WWE. How does that happen? I know you discussed that they needed someone to train, and Vince came to you. When Vince first comes to you, are you in awe at all? Because this is the biggest promoter of all time. He's not a billionaire at the time, but
Yeah, but well, at that point in time, he was taking over everything, and he was throwing money out hand and fist to everybody. And I was like, I was in awe. Here this guy is, and I would be safe in saying, well, I am. Jim Cornette, he helped get me up here. I know that, and that, he did, and I got to meet Vince one-on-one, and it was a pleasure meeting him, and it was even a bigger pleasure when he sent me the contracts, all this, and they would send it, your booking sheets through the mail by carrier. But them come up, well, you look and you seen where you was, and plane tickets and everything was there, all that. So,
Do you have any personal thoughts or feelings on Vince?
on Vince, there's a lot of people got a lot of feelings about Vince. A lot of them ain't good. But no, Vince to me is he's everybody wants a piece of him. So that's reason enough for him to be on his guard all the time. I mean, you have to be. You've got hundreds of people or even thousands of people that's wanting to work for you, wanting some of your money, and you've got to look at them, or you've got to be sturdy enough to say, no, I can't use you, or get out, ever how you want to put it. But usually when the firing comes, it comes down through channels.
Yes, you find out from someone else.
Huh?
You find out from somebody else is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who, do you know, a stupid question, who came to you and said, okay, we're sending you on your way?
Who was that? It might have been Cornette. That come up and said that they was going to make a change and didn't need me anymore. No, I take that back. I believe that was when, no, I believe it was. I'm losing my mind.
That's all right.
So, yeah, I believe Cornette had something to do with it.
Speaking of Cornette, the family, the Monte The Pharaoh family, they're asking, do you have a great Jim Cornette story you could share with them?
A great Jim Cornette story. Huh. That's hard to... See, I didn't run with Jim that much. I mean, he came in, did the book and all that. But I do remember when he was younger, him and Jimmy Hart, they were managing in Memphis, both of them, but they had like an alliance and everything. They was getting everybody together. And Jimmy Hart was the head honcho, and then you had Cornette, which was running around. Well, Jimmy Hart was selling these canes. Little old black wooden canes about like that, had 2 little white tips on it, and he was selling them at the matches. Well, they was buying them. The heels hated them because them fans would wear you out with them. Well, we looked up one day, we was sitting there, and it all got wild and woolly, and Cornette was jumping in, and so was Jimmy Hart. About that time, I see Jimmy Hart raise up on his tiptoes. He's an old man back there, buddy, just wearing his butt out with that thing. And the cane was about that big around. It was a good sturdy cane. It wouldn't break. He went to whacking. Well, here come Cornette, not paying attention, buddy, and that old man lit in on him too, buddy. And there they both went down the aisle wide open. Yeah.
My co-host here mentioned Steve Kern.
Good guy.
How was it when you were part of the Grapplers, right?
Yeah.
You feuded with the Fabulous Ones, I think, for a while, right? Is
Yeah.
that correct? How hot was that feud, and what was it like working with the Fabulous Ones? Because they were, they were the alternative rock and roll express, I guess.
Well, they basically started.
Yeah.
Steve Kern, Stan Lane, and it was a dream working with those guys. Those guys was good. You didn't have to work as hard because all the girls loved them, and just everybody loved them. They were over, and it was easy. It really was. It was real easy to come in. They could get a good tag team over with no problem and all that. And me and Lenny, when we come there and they put us with them and everything, we was having barn burners. We was knocking them down. I mean, just great match.
How come you guys got away from the Grappler combination and you went singles? Was that where the money was, or because you guys were hot, right? You were a hot heel team.
And we were working for Bill Watts in Louisiana, and at Lenny, I tell you what, he got me fired from more places all over the world than anybody I ever known in my life. I'll tell you a quick story. Me and Lenny come in one night. We was working Memphis. So we come into Memphis, and we didn't want to do the party thing that night. We was wore out, no girls, no nothing. So we went and stayed at the airport motel. Oh, we got one of them fancy rooms and kicked back. Nobody knew where we was or anything like that. So next morning we get up, and before all this happened, we'd got fired from Bill Watts' territory. So now we're working in Memphis territory. So I'm sitting there, and you know how it is in the morning. You go do your business. And I'm telling you, we had a nice room. It even had a phone in the bathroom.
Wow.
We was uptown. So I'm sitting there, that phone rings, and I was like, boy, ain't that wonderful. At about that time, I heard Lenny say, "Hey, Tony, pick the phone up." What? So pick the phone up. Hello? I'm going to tell you two son of a bitches something. You ain't never going to work in my territory again. You all are fired. You're out of here. And I'm like, it was Bill Watts. He was firing us from Memphis. We're working for Lawler and Jarrett, and he calls and fires us, and we ain't even in his territory. Yeah. Like, what in the, and I said, Lenny, you done it again.
Fired from a territory we're not in.
Speaking about Watts, does he not get enough respect as a wrestling mind and as a booker? I mean, how did you like working for Watts?
I have nothing but the utmost respect for Bill Watts as far of his knowledge and the way he set up matches and stuff like that. As a human being, he ain't worth shooting. I mean, he's a low. Well, I probably can't say what.
No, you can say. Go ahead.
What are you? He's low life.
I mean, elaborate a little. We've heard so many stories about, maybe some racism, the way he treated the. I mean, what were your experiences with him?
Well, we was doing interviews one time, and this was when me and Lenny come the Dirty White Boys. And he got on there, and we was going against. That's when Junkyard Dog had went to working for Vince. Well, figure, well, I made the Junkyard Dog. I'm gonna make me another one. Well, he brought some guys in, some other black guys, and he was pushing him hard and all that. And he said, I want you to get on here. Said, I want you to call him everything but the N-word. I mean, you just blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we doing the interview. Lenny starts it. And he said, Bucks, North Tennessee, we don't even let black chickens live here. And then Watts comes up, cut, you son of a bitch. What the hell? Won't you just go ahead and call him a...
Yeah, right.
And he said, I'm doing what you told me to do. Are you that stupid? Well, when Lenny started peeling the jacket, I was like, here we go. I start peeling mine. I figured, hey, we're going to Knuckle City.
Right.
And DiBiase and them were there. And they kind of got in and got things toned down. And it wasn't long after that we got fired. But no, he was just the type of guy, he'd tell you to do something. Then when you did it, then he won't get mad at you. Because he was basically a bully.
Right.
You know, he's a big old man and all that.
Because, he could probably, he could fight too, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah, he's a big man. And
it's funny you bring that up, though, because on the dark side of the ring, when they talk about Junkyard Dog leaving that area, they said Watts was just besides himself. He couldn't believe that after all he did for JYD. So was that true? Like, was Watts, like, just totally
he
destroyed?
pushed him, and the way that he actually got over was the Freebirds was going around. They had a homemade concoction, and they'd open it up, and they'd get it, and they'd throw it in your eyes, and it'd blind you. Well, it just so happened Dog's wife was having a baby, brand new baby. Well, they throwed it in Dog's eyes, went blind, got him on the TV doing an interview, and he's blind and all that, and he's like, I can't even hold my baby girl, and was going in, and the baby was over here. And she's like, no, right here she is. The people felt so sorry for him, they were sending in cards and letters. Well, in those cards and letters was money. And Watts didn't know it. And then somebody stooged it off. Dog was getting all this mail, and it had money, and so Watts was going through it before he ever got the thing, and he'd take it out and then give him some of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so JYD found out about this.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that's the
what
reason
made
he
him,
left
gotcha.
and everything. The reason he left it was money.
Was just money.
I mean, it was just totally business. But the way that Watts treated people, why should they be that loyal to you? You're paying them for a job, and they're doing their job very well. So why would you be loyal to him? You're working for every nickel and dime. Well, here's another person who's going to give you more nickels and dimes.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? It's just business.
Back then, though, with the dog and his popularity, did he have that crack problem back then, or did it just occur afterwards? Did you see him?
I think it occurred after.
So you didn't see him doing that?
No,
type of
we worked Dog and Jerry Stubbs, Mr. Olympia, were tag team partners, and me and Lenny, we went and had our feud with him. We worked a program with him and all that, and he was right on time. Everything was cool. So, I never knew it, never seen anything.
Were the Freebirds always on time? What was it like working with the Freebirds or having them in that area? Or were they as crazy as everybody said they were?
Oh, yeah. Bam Bam, God rest his soul, I loved that man. Hey, you talking about just a big old brute of a man, that great guy. don't get on his bad side, because bad things can happen. And then, of course, you got Michael running around. He's just that was the comedy. You had Sirius, and then you had the smaller one. He could go too. And all three of them go fairly decent, but Michael didn't. He, like, I don't really want to go.
Michael was a mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, that's it.
What was it like being in the territories, watching Vince come in and basically pluck one piece out of here, one piece out of here, one piece out of here, and watching him kind of implode?
I was like, when is it my turn to get plucked? It's a business, and it's all about money.
So with just one week you'd go in there and there's another person going on, next week another person?
Yeah, it could be like that. So I've seen it in some places like that. And but when he first started, he'd take a couple out here and a couple out of this other territory and bring them up, and then he'd settle for a little bit, and then here he'd go picking. It's like, okay, today we got to pick tomatoes. Okay, that's it, no more. We got to wait a while. These others are green, so.
If they would have took the character of the dirty white boy and brought them here up east, do you think it could have gotten over?
In the Fed.
What's that?
In the Fed for Vince?
Yes.
Yes, I honestly believe that it would have.
Did you ever try to present that to them? And
Yeah.
say, what did they say?
Well, Vince would have to own the name and all that. See, that's when he was owning everything. It's like if he fired you, you didn't get to take that with you. It belonged to him. I wasn't about to do that. So I worked too long and too hard building my name, and I just wasn't going to just sign a piece of paper.
So if you would have signed a piece of paper, the dirty white boy could have been up here.
I believe so. I really do believe so. Maybe not. Ain't never, we'll never know.
Last night we had Jamie Dundee in. Did you have the opportunity to work with Jamie and Wolfie at all? Tell us about Jamie Dundee.
That's a little rat running around. That's like you throw a rat in this room and then you chase it. There's many stuff that they can get under and all that. He's hilarious. Oh, Lord have mercy. Matter of fact, I talked to Wolfie about 2 days ago. Before I came up here, I was in the school line waiting to pick up my boy. And while I was sitting there, I called Wolfie, and we talked for a while and all that kind of stuff. So I keep in touch with him. Jamie, I hadn't, but that Jamie, that boy's something else. I tell you what, you talking about somebody that's full of it. That little feller is. You can't believe nothing's coming out of his mouth. Now, I'm not saying he lies, but I wouldn't put it past him.
You talked earlier about working as a plumber with your father. At what point do you tell your family that I'm going to be a professional wrestler, and what's their reaction to that?
The real reaction was when I told my family I was going to quit college and quit playing football to become a wrestler. That didn't get over real good. My daddy was proud as a peacock because I was going to college, play football. He never missed one football game. He was in the hospital, got out of the hospital the day of a football game and was sitting on the 50-yard line midways watching me. And he didn't care much for that. And I told him I wanted to be a wrestler. And he always have supported me in anything that I wanted to do like that. And he said, okay.
Well, let's stop there for a second. So you're in college. You're a football player.
Yeah.
Living life.
Yeah.
What goes off in Tony's mind and goes, yeah, I just want to be a professional wrestler. How did that happen?
There was a high school buddy of mine came by the house We played football together, but he wasn't big enough or good enough to play college ball. Well, he was showing off a big wrestling belt. I just won this last Friday night. I was like, you said what? I just won this last Friday night, and I got to thinking. He said, yes. Said Rick Connors trained me, and I can take you if you want to go and introduce you to him and all that. I got a match. I'll drive. You can go with me and watch me wrestle and all that. And I got to thinking, well, you won that belt. I can whoop you. I know that. I've done it several times. So if I can whoop you, that means I can get one of them belts. So I finally.
So wait. So at this point, you don't know this is scripted. You think this is real?
Well, yeah, for a long time I did. Until I knew at this point in time, I knew that it was. It might have been choreographed a little bit.
Okay.
But, people say wrestling's fake. I've had about 3 or 4 major surgeries on my body due to wrestling. Now, is that fake?
Oh, not at all.
That's my insurance company. They'll tell you there ain't nothing fake about that.
We try to never use the word fake here, but we try to use it is scripted, right? So,
I guess, if you say so.
But basically, you quit college, you quit football because you got impressed by a shiny championship belt.
Well, wasn't so much the belt as it was that Jackie Lakins was my buddy, and he won it. And I knew I could win.
Yeah.
And if he beat everybody to get that, well, I'm a shoo-in. I could just walk right in and win it and be the champion. Yeah.
And now I'm going to be a wrestler. Want to go back to the WWE. Don't know if it's true. I'll ask. What was the clique, right? Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. I forget if Kevin Nash was there. Probably Kevin Nash was already there too.
Hunter.
What kind of problems did they give you?
They didn't give me no problems.
Did you see the way they treated other wrestlers, and did you feel bad, or did you just never see anything from any of them?
Well, most of the time, they were usually always doing interviews and stuff like that. I mean, when you go there to get ready to do like a Monday Night Raw or something like that, you're there from usually before 12 o'clock that day, and you don't get out until about midnight that night. I mean, it's an all-day thing. And but no, I never had a problem with any of those guys. I mean, I was buddies with them,
And did they treat you with respect,
Yeah.
knowing who you were, where you came from?
Yeah.
It's good to
They
hear.
better.
All right, so quick thoughts.
Smack.
Quick thoughts. Well, I know you would. On the Phil and co-host here, how did he do so far?
My final
We're
question.
not there yet.
Oh, okay.
How do you
Did you
think he
say
did?
something? Do what?
How do you think he did?
Who, him?
Yeah,
You want me to lie or tell the truth?
tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Oh, God. No, I thought you done a real good job, buddy, really.
Well
I
done.
did. You
What
was
we
right
usually
on
do,
cue.
Tony, we have something called the Pharaoh's Final Question. That's my true co-host. It comes out of his mind, whatever else. He may ask you. He could ask you about hamburgers, whatever he decided to do.
I had a good one today.
Did you really? Where did you eat?
It was some little old diner, and cause I went and did that reality thing or what? Not
Yeah, no, the the virtual sign.
the virtual. Yeah. Before we went to that, it was right down the road from there. It was some little old diner, and buddy, that food was plenty of it. I mean, most of the time in little diners, a lot of them,
Yeah.
they don't fill the plate up. This one had a big plate and it was full. Yeah, buddy, it was good.
That's what you enjoy about New York, though, right? Coming up here, the food's better, right? It's a little bit better.
No, if I want good food, I stay at home. I got deer meat and all that kind of stuff to eat, buddy.
Yeah, we didn't even get to talk about that. So here he is. He's going to ask you the final question.
You ready?
All right. So present company excluded. You were around during that big expansion of WWF in the 80s. Who do you think the WWF dropped the ball with by not picking up, or picked up and dropped the ball with as they brought them in?
Me.
I said present company excluded.
Oh. Well, see, you're using them big words on me now.
There you go.
Now, right there, see, that takes a few points off of how good you're doing.
Very good.
Yeah. I really don't know. I really can't answer that.
It's an ultimate fail. That's the first time the Pharaoh's final question did not get over in the history of this illustrious show. In fact, Jim Beam just called. They just canceled our contract. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. Anthony, seriously, thank you for what you've done for this industry.
Well,
what an honor it is to have you in the studio.
I appreciate
Again,
it. The honor's mine. I mean, I appreciate you guys inviting me.
Well, it's just amazing. And you know what? I think in life, right, you choose a career or you have a family, and you can look back at your career that you chose that day where you wanted to take your friend's belt away from him.
Yeah, I was a bully.
You did a pretty damn good job, man.
Well, thank you.
And don't forget Saturday, everybody could come see the Dirty White Boy.
There you go.
And get some pictures and autographs and get to meet this legend. Thank you again.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
All right, Bruce, don't screw this up. Send us out.
All right. You've been watching TL Hopper,
Dirty White Boy. Wait a minute. Unbelievable. Did you see that? The whole show I'm redirecting off
Have
of
you ever heard this? You're fired!
Hey, with that,
the
let's get out of here.
entire show. Stay away from TL Hopper.
You were doing good.
All three, but so Tony, thank you for being here.
Wait, I got to stop for one more second. The entire show, we talked about TL Hopper. He was done with it. We established that we didn't want to ever say it again, and you're still going to mention it.
And you know what your problem was? You opened your mouth.
There you go.
All right. With that, let's get out of here. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in a bit.